I still remember the last morning that felt like us. It was a Tuesday. Not special. Not marked on any calendar. Just another day sliding through the week like a worn-out cassette tape stuck on repeat. Sunlight came through the kitchen window at that sharp angle it only does in late September, golden, slanting across the linoleum floor, cutting a clean line between shadow and warmth. I stood at the stove, flipping pancakes the way she liked them, underdone in the middle, edges just starting to crisp. The smell of maple syrup and burnt butter filled the air, mixed with the faint scent of her shampoo drifting in from the bathroom. She called out from behind the half-closed door, "You better not be burning them again." "Never," I said, grinning. "These are perfection. You'll weep when you taste them." A beat of silence. Then the door cracked open, steam curling around her like a halo. She stood there in my old Ohio State sweatshirt, hers now, really, since she'd stolen it 3 winters ago and never gave it back. Her hair was damp, wrapped up in a towel, and she had that sleepy look in her eyes, the one that made her seem younger than 28. Like she hadn't quite woken up to adulthood yet. "You always say that," she said, stepping forward, barefoot on the cold tile. "And sometimes they're okay." "Sometimes?" I turned, spatula in hand. "Last week you told me I should open a diner." I was being nice. She reached for the plate, stole a piece of pancake before I could stop her. Okay. Maybe you are a genius." I watched her take a bite, close her eyes like it was some kind of sacrament. That was Claire. Always dramatic about the little things. Coffee had to be brewed just right or it was undrinkable. A song came on the radio and suddenly she was dancing in the kitchen like we were in a movie. She didn't do anything halfway. I loved that about her. Still do. God help me, I still do. We sat at the table, the one we bought from a garage sale, sanded down, stained too dark, but ours, and ate in comfortable silence. The kind that only comes after years, after routines settle into bones. 3 years together. 2.5 living here in this little house just outside Columbus, Ohio. Nothing fancy. 3 bedrooms, one I used as an office, a backyard where the grass never grew right, and a porch swing that creaked when you moved too fast. But it was ours. She read the news on her phone while I stared out the window, watching the neighbor's dog bark at nothing again. I sipped my coffee, black, 2 sugars, and thought about how good it felt to have a routine. Get up. Make breakfast. Go to work. Come home. Watch a show. Fall asleep beside her. Wake up. Do it again. I worked in insurance. Not glamorous, but stable. Senior adjuster at Nationwide. I wore button-downs most days, kept my hair short, drove a reliable Honda Accord with 117,000 miles and a dent in the rear bumper from a shopping cart incident I still blamed on her. She teased me about being boring. Called me Dad Energy in that playful way she had. But she never left. Never complained. Said she liked that I was dependable. That morning, she got up, kissed the top of my head, and said, "Don't forget, I'm having dinner with Jen tonight." Jen was her best friend since college. They'd met in a poetry class neither of them took seriously. Now they met every few weeks for drinks, dinner, therapy disguised as wine nights. Yeah, I said. Just don't stay out too late. We've got that thing with Mark and Lisa tomorrow. The barbecue? I know. I'll be home by 10. She grabbed her bag, slung it over her shoulder, paused at the door. Love you. Love you too. And then she was gone. I cleaned up the dishes, wiped down the counters, poured myself another cup of coffee. Turned on the local news. Checked emails. Got ready for work. Nothing felt off. Nothing felt broken. But somewhere between my second sip and tying my shoes, the world shifted, just slightly, on its axis. Not enough to notice. Not yet. Later, I would think back to that moment. To the exact position of the sun, the sound of the wind in the trees, the way the coffee tasted, bitter, familiar, safe. I would replay it all like evidence, searching for clues I hadn't seen. Because by the time I got home that night, everything had changed. I walked in at 6:47 p.m. According to the timestamp on the security camera footage I wouldn't see until days later. Rain had started falling on my drive back, sudden and heavy, like the sky had been holding its breath all day. I kicked off my wet shoes, tossed my keys on the entryway table, called out, "Claire." No answer. Strange, but not alarming. Maybe she was in the shower. Or forgot her phone and went back for it. I hung up my coat, went to the kitchen, opened the fridge. Leftover lasagna. I heated it up, sat on the couch with my laptop, checked sports scores, scrolled through Reddit. By 8:30, I was frowning at my phone. No texts. No calls. I texted, "Hey, everything okay?" 10 minutes passed. Then 15. I tried calling. Went straight to voicemail. Now, worry started to creep in. Not panic. Not yet. Just that low hum beneath the skin. The kind that says, something's off. I called Jen. "Hey, Mike," she answered, voice bright. "What's up? Did Claire make it to dinner?" There was a pause. Too long. "Wait, wasn't she with you?" My stomach dropped. "No. She said she was meeting you." "Oh, crap." She texted me this morning saying she wasn't feeling well. Said she needed to cancel. The room went quiet. Even the rain outside seemed to hush. "She told me she was going to you," I said, my voice flat. Jen hesitated. "Mike. I haven't heard from her since this morning." "Is she not home?" "No," I said. "And she's not answering her phone." We both fell silent. I could hear her breathing. Then, quietly, she said, "Do you want me to call around? See if anyone's heard from her?" I nodded, then realized she couldn't see me. "Yeah. Please." I hung up, stood up, paced. Checked her side of the closet. Her black boots were gone. The red dress she wore to Mark and Lisa's party last month. Missing. Her overnight bag, packed and ready in the hall closet for emergencies, was also gone. Why would she take that? Unless she planned to stay somewhere. My mind began to race. Car accident? Hospital? Phone dead? All possible. But why lie about seeing Jen? I called her cell again. Voicemail. I called the hospitals. Nothing under her name. I drove to Jen's place. She wasn't lying, she hadn't seen her. I drove past her favorite bars. Nothing. By 11:45 p.m, I was sitting on our bed, staring at her pillow, heart pounding like a trapped bird. I picked up her hairbrush. Smelled it. Still smelled like her, coconut and vanilla. I looked at the nightstand. Her journal was there, closed, but I'd never opened it. Never wanted to. Privacy mattered to me. Even in love. But now. I picked it up. Put it down. This wasn't me. I went back to the living room, sat in the dark, waited. At 1:17 a.m, headlights swept across the wall. I stood up. The front door opened. She walked in, heels clicking, hair down, wearing that red dress. And she wasn't alone. He followed her, tall, lean, dressed in a tailored jacket, laughing at something she said. He stepped inside, shrugged off his coat, and she shut the door behind them. They didn't see me at first. I was standing in the shadows near the hallway, barely breathing. Then she turned. Her smile died. "Mike," she whispered. The man, him, froze. Looked at me. Looked at her. I should go." "No," I said. My voice was calm. Too calm. "Stay. Let's talk." Silence. Claire's face went pale. She took a step back. "Mike, I can explain." "Explain what?" I asked. "That you lied? That you spent the night with him? That you weren't sick? That you weren't with Jan?" She opened her mouth. Closed it. The man, whose name I didn't know, whose face I'd never seen before, looked between us. "I didn't know you were." "I'm her fiancé," I said. "We live here. Together." He flinched. Claire reached for my arm. "Mike, please." I pulled away. "Get out." "What?" "You heard me. Both of you. Get out. Now." She started to cry. "Mike, wait. Now." The man didn't hesitate. He grabbed his coat, muttered something I didn't catch, and left. Claire stood there, trembling. "I never meant to hurt you." I laughed. It came out hollow. "Funny. Because you just did." She reached for me again. I stepped back. "Go home," I said. "Or wherever you came from. I don't care. Just go." She left without another word. I locked the door behind her. Walked through the house like a ghost. Turned off lights. Sat on the edge of the bed. Stared at the space where she should have been. My hands shook. I didn't cry. Not then. I just sat there, staring at the ceiling, listening to the rain, thinking one thing over and over. She spent the night with him. And in that moment, something inside me cracked. Not broke. Cracked. And from that crack, something else began to grow. Quiet. Patient. Cold. It wasn't rage. Not yet. It was worse. It was clarity. Because I knew, right then, as I sat in the dark of our bedroom, our bed, our life, our future, that I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to fall apart. No. I was going to make her understand. Not with words. Not with tears. But with art. Because revenge? Revenge isn't violence. Revenge isn't shouting. Revenge is precision. Revenge is patience. Revenge is making someone feel exactly what they made you feel. And mine would be a masterpiece. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I couldn't. Not because of noise or light or the storm still rattling the windows. But because my mind had become a machine, one I no longer controlled. It clicked in word, sorting through every memory, every word, every look Claire and I had ever shared, searching for clues buried in plain sight. The house was too quiet. That was the worst part. 3 years of her presence, her laugh echoing down the hall, the soft thump of her feet on hardwood in the morning, the way she'd hum off-key while brushing her teeth, had trained me to hear her even when she wasn't there. Now, the silence wasn't just absence. It was accusation. I sat at the kitchen table again, the same one where we'd eaten pancakes that morning, and stared at the empty chair across from me. The ghost of her smile still lingered in the air. The syrup bottle was still open, just like she'd left it. I hadn't touched it. I didn't want to erase her. Not yet. I wanted to understand. So I started with the facts. She lied. She spent the night with another man. She used Jen as cover. She came home laughing. And worst of all, she looked surprised to see me. Not guilty. Not devastated. Surprised. Like she thought I wouldn't be here. Like she thought I wouldn't care. Or worse, like she thought I wouldn't notice. That's when the first real wave hit. Not sadness. Not anger. Humiliation. Because suddenly, I wasn't just the betrayed fiancé. I was the joke. The guy who made pancakes while his woman plotted an alibi. The dependable one. The boring one. The safe one. And now, while he slept, she slipped out into the night wearing red like a warning, laughing with someone who made her feel, what? Alive? Desired? Seen? Did I stop doing that? Was I the problem? No. I refused to let this become about my flaws. This wasn't about me not being exciting enough. This wasn't about needing to try harder. This was about her choice. Her lie. Her betrayal. And if she thought she could walk back in like nothing happened, like I was just furniture waiting to be rearranged, that's when I knew. This wouldn't end quietly. But revenge doesn't start with fire. It starts with ice. So I did the only thing I could. I got up. I cleaned the kitchen. I wiped the counter. Closed the syrup. Put the plates in the dishwasher. Folded the napkins. Reset the table like nothing had happened. Then I went to the office. My home office, formerly the third bedroom, was small, cluttered, and entirely mine. A standing desk I never stood at. A bookshelf full of paperbacks I hadn't read in years. A whiteboard covered in insurance case notes. And a laptop that held 3 years of my digital life. I sat down. Opened the security app linked to the cameras around the house. And watched. The footage from the night before played in silent loops. Claire entering. Laughing. Touching the man's arm. Him stepping inside like he belonged. Their voices were muffled, but their body language screamed intimacy. He leaned in when she spoke. She tilted her head when he smiled. They moved like they'd done this before. I scrubbed back. Back to earlier in the evening. I found a clip from 7:08 p.m. Claire getting into a black Jeep Wrangler parked 2 blocks away, near the old gas station. I'd never seen that vehicle before. She wore jeans then, not the red dress. She climbed into the passenger seat like she owned it. They drove off. 43 minutes later, the same Jeep pulled up behind our house, near the alley access. Claire and the man got out, walked through the side gate, entered through the back door. They stayed until 1:15 a.m. Over 6 hours. 6 hours of my life I wasn't living. 6 hours of her pretending I didn't exist. I watched the footage twice. Then a third time. Then I took screenshots. Saved them. Labeled them. Evidence. Not for the police. Not for a court. For her. For the moment she realized I wasn't broken. I was awake. And I was watching. The next morning, I went to work. I showered. Shaved. Put on a clean blue button-down. Tied my shoes. Drove the Honda through rain-slicked streets. Listened to the radio. Nodded at coworkers. Sat at my desk. Answered emails. Nothing about me had changed on the outside. Inside? I was a bomb with the timer already set. At lunch, I called Mark. Hey, man, I said, voice steady. Still on for tonight? There was a pause. Yeah. Lisa's got the ribs marinating. You guys coming? I hesitated. Claire might be busy. But I'll be there. Another pause. Longer this time. Mike, are you okay? Never better, I said. Why? No reason. Just. Claire texted Lisa last night saying you guys were both sick. Cancelling. I wasn't sick, I said. And I don't know where she was. Silence. Then, carefully, Mark said, You sure you want to come alone? Yes, I said. I need normal. And your backyard is the closest thing I've got. He didn't push. Good man. When I got home that evening, there was a note taped to the front door. Mike, we need to talk. Please don't shut me out. I'm so sorry. Can we meet for coffee tomorrow? See. I took the note down. Didn't read it again. Burned it in the sink. Let the ashes go down the drain. Then I took a long shower, dressed for the barbecue, and drove to Mark and Lisa's place with a 6-pack of IPA and a smile on my face. They greeted me warmly. Lisa hugged me, eyes searching mine. Mark clapped me on the back. We ate ribs. Drank beer. Talked football. Watched the kids run around with sparklers as the sun went down. Someone asked where Claire was. She's working late, I said. Big project. No one questioned it. But Lisa gave me a look. The kind only women seem to have, the kind that says, I know something's wrong, but I won't make you say it. Later, after the others had left, Mark poured us both a shot of bourbon. You want to talk? He asked. I swirled the liquid in the glass. She cheated on me. His face fell. Jesus, Mike. When? Last night. Or technically, early this morning. Came home with some guy. Laughing. Like it was a damn vacation. Mark exhaled slowly. Do you know who he is? No. But I will. He stuttered me. What are you going to do? I took the shot. Felt it burn. I don't know yet, I said. But it won't be what she expects. He nodded. Didn't smile. Didn't offer empty advice. Just said, you've got people who've got your back. I appreciated that more than words. Back at home, I went straight to the office. Pulled up her social media. Scrolled through her Instagram. Nothing suspicious. Posts from 2 weeks ago, a latte, a sunset, a quote about love and trust. Irony is a bitch, I thought. Then I checked her public tags. Nothing. But then I remembered, she had a private account. Only close friends could see her stories. I didn't think. I just acted. I created a fake profile. Sarah Miller. 29, from Toledo. Loves poetry, dogs, and rainy days. Sent her a follow request. Waited. 2 hours later, approved. Her story popped up. A photo of a hand, man's hand, holding a coffee cup. Tattoos on the wrist. A silver ring on the index finger. Another, blurred lights at night. Motion. Laughter in the background. Another, a bathroom mirror selfie. Her lips, painted red. A man's shadow in the background. And then, just before midnight, a simple black square with white text. Finally free. My blood turned to ice. Free? From what? From me? After everything I'd given her? I met her when she was crashing on a friend's couch, broke, jobless, car repossessed. I let her move in after 6 months. Paid half her student loans. Supported her art shows. Framed her stupid abstract paintings and hung them on our walls. Stood by her when her dad died. Held her when she cried over stray cats and bad movies and the state of the world. And now she was free? I saved every story. Every post. Every pixel. Then I dug deeper. I remembered she used a cloud backup for her photos. And I knew her email. But not her password. So I reset it. Using her security questions. First pet? Bingo. Muffin. We'd talked about it 100 times. High school mascot? Easy. Eagles. She wore the hoodie once a week. I accessed her Google account. And there it was. Folder after folder. Most labeled normally: Columbus, beach trip, food. But one stood out. Named simply, him. I opened it. And the world stopped. Photos. Dozens of them. Claire laughing on a motorcycle. Him driving. Her arms around his waist. Kissing in a dimly lit bar. Sleeping in a bed, not ours, sunlight on tangled sheets. One photo showed them naked, just shoulders and backs, but unmistakable. Another, a note in his handwriting on a diner napkin. You're my escape. And then, worst of all, a screenshot of a text thread. From her to him. I don't love him. I just don't know how to leave without losing everything. My hands shook. Not from pain. From power. Because now I knew. Not just that she cheated. But that it had been going on for months. That she planned it. That she enjoyed it. That she saw me as a placeholder. And that, somehow, I was supposed to be grateful for the scraps of her attention. I closed the laptop. Walked outside. Sat on the porch swing. Listened to the crickets. And for the first time since it happened, I smiled. Not because I was happy, but because I finally understood. Revenge isn't about hurting someone. It's about revealing them. Showing the world who they really are. And showing them who you really are. Because she thought I was weak. Predictable. Safe. Boring. But safe doesn't mean stupid. Dependable doesn't mean blind. And boring? Boring men plan things. They keep records. They remember details. And when they decide to act, they don't rush. They build. Piece by piece. Like a sculpture. Like a masterpiece. I went back inside. Opened a new document. Titled it, Project Phoenix. Below it, I wrote. Objective, make Claire understand the cost of her freedom. Method, precision. Patience. Proof. Rules, no violence. No threats. No direct confrontation. Weapon, truth. Delivery, art. I saved the file. Locked it with a password. And for the first time in days, I slept. Dreamless. Peaceful. Because the man who went to bed that night? He wasn't the same guy who flipped pancakes and said love you too. That man was gone. In his place stood someone quieter. Sharper. Determined. And utterly unrecognizable. The game had changed. And I had just made the first move. I woke up with a plan. Not a rage-fueled impulse. Not a drunken midnight vow. A plan, clear, structured, almost clinical in its precision. Like an insurance claim I'd spent weeks building, piece by irrefutable piece until the payout was inevitable. Because that's what this was now. A settlement. And she was going to pay. But not in money. In exposure. In shame. In silence. I made coffee. Same as always. Black, 2 sugars. Toasted a bagel. Sat at the kitchen table. Watched the sun rise over the neighbor's oak tree. Listened to the dog bark. Normalcy was my armor now. The more ordinary my days looked, the deeper the cut when the truth finally came out. I opened my laptop. Clicked on Project Phoenix. Reviewed the notes. Objective: make Claire understand the cost of her freedom. Method: precision. Patience. Proof: weapon, truth. Delivery: art. Then I added a new line. Phase 1: isolate the canvas. Because every masterpiece needs a surface. And hers? Her reputation. Her image. Her carefully curated life. Claire wasn't just my fiancée. She was an artist. Not famous. Not rich. But respected in small circles, the kind of painter who got featured in local galleries, had a modest following on Instagram, sold pieces for $800 to $2,500 to collectors who liked raw emotional expression. Her work was abstract, splashes of color, jagged lines, textures built from sand and ash and old book pages. Critics called it visceral. Unapologetically honest. She once told me, "My art is the only place I don't lie." The irony nearly made me laugh. So if her art was her truth, then I would use it to tell mine. First step: learn her world. I'd never paid close attention before. I went to her shows, clapped, smiled, said things like, "It speaks to me," even when I had no idea what the hell I was looking at. But now, I became a student. I spent the next 3 days researching galleries she'd worked with, curators, collectors, bloggers who reviewed local art. I scoured interviews she'd given, at a podcast last year, a feature in Columbus Monthly, even a YouTube video from a panel discussion at the Wexner Center. I learned names. People mattered. Like Daniel Reyes, owner of Reyes Contemporary, the most respected indie gallery in Central Ohio. He'd given Claire her first solo show. Called her one of the most promising emerging voices in Midwest abstraction. They were close, had dinner, texted often, even vacationed together once, a group trip to Santa Fe, nothing romantic, but still, too familiar. Then there was Naomi Park. Art critic. Ran a blog called The Raw Line. Brutal but influential. If Naomi praised you, your sales doubled. If she tore you apart, you disappeared. And finally, Lila Chen, curator at the Columbus Museum of Art's new media wing. Claire had applied twice for a residency under her. Both times rejected. She'd been bitter about it. Called Lila out of touch once at a party. Said her taste was sterile. These were the gatekeepers. And they were my entry point. On Friday morning, I did something I hadn't done in years. I called in sick. Not dramatic. Just a calm voice on the phone. "Hey, Janice." "Yeah, it's Mike. Sorry, fever hit last night. Think I'll need a day." No suspicion. No questions. I hung up. Dressed carefully. Not like an insurance adjuster. Like someone who belonged in a gallery. Navy blazer. Gray slacks. Leather shoes polished. Hair combed. Watch on. I looked like a man with quiet money. The kind people listen to. Then I drove to Reyes Contemporary. The gallery sat in a renovated warehouse downtown, exposed brick, concrete floors, soft lighting, minimalist sculptures near the entrance. A young woman with blue hair and a nose ring greeted me. "Welcome. Can I help you?" "I'm here to see Daniel," I said. "Michael Travers. We have a meeting." She blinked. "I don't see you on the schedule." I smiled. "Last minute. He knows." I didn't wait. Walked past her toward the back office. Daniel Reyes looked up from his desk, mid-40s, salt and pepper beard, wearing a black turtleneck like he thought he was in a French film. "Can I help you?" he asked, polite but guarded. I extended my hand. "Michael Travers. Claire Whitaker's fiancé." His expression shifted. Recognition. Then caution. "Oh. Mike. I didn't know you were coming." "I didn't either," I said. "Until yesterday. I've been thinking a lot about Claire's work lately. About her trajectory. And I wanted to talk to you, man to man, about her future." He hesitated. "Sure. Have a seat." I Saturday. Crossed my legs. Calm. Confident. "I'll be honest," I began. "I've never fully understood her art. Never claimed to. But I've always supported her. Paid the bills when she couldn't sell a piece for months. Framed everything. Hung her shows. Told everyone I knew to buy her work." Daniel nodded slowly. "You've been good to her." "I have," I said. "But lately, I've started to wonder. Is she reaching her potential?" He stiffened. "What do you mean?" "I mean," I paused, like I was choosing words carefully. "I've seen artists plateau. Get comfortable. Repeat the same themes. Sell the same style because it works. But is it honest anymore?" Daniel leaned forward. "You're saying Claire's work isn't authentic?" "I'm saying," I replied, "that pain creates great art. Loss. Betrayal. Freedom. Those are powerful muses. And I think she's been holding back." He stuttered me. "You think she should go darker?" "I think," I said, lowering my voice, "she's sitting on something real. Something raw. And if she let it out, if she stopped protecting herself, she could make something legendary." Daniel exhaled. "That's actually interesting." I stood. "Look, I don't pretend to be an expert. But I know her. And I think she's ready. For something bold. Something true." I handed him a flash drive. "This is a concept I sketched out. Based on some things she's told me. Private things. Painful things. I thought, maybe you could show it to her. See what she thinks." He took it. "You're not going to show it to her yourself?" I gave a sad smile. "We're going through something. I don't want to influence her. I just want her to create. Even if it destroys us." Classic move. The martyr. The supportive partner sacrificing himself for her art. He bought it. Completely. "Thank you, Mike," he said. "I'll look at this. Personally." I nodded. "Don't tell her it was me." And I walked out. Not running. Not triumphant. Just gone. Like a ghost leaving a message. That night, I checked Claire's Instagram. Nothing. No posts. No stories. But at 11:03 p.m, she liked a post from Daniel. A photo of a blank canvas. Caption, "New beginnings." And beneath it, one comment. "From Claire, I feel it too." My chest tightened. Not from regret. From anticipation. Because I knew what was coming. I'd planted the seed. Now all I had to do was wait for her to water it. The flash drive wasn't empty. I'd spent 2 days building it. Photoshopped documents. Fake journal entries. A fictional narrative titled "The Weight of Staying," written in her voice, describing a woman trapped in a loveless relationship, using art as her only escape. It detailed lies, secret meetings, the guilt, the thrill, the moment she realized she didn't love her partner anymore. It was her story. But twisted. Framed not as betrayal, but as liberation. And at the end? A sketch of a painting called Freedom Burn. A massive canvas, half destroyed by fire, half pristine. On the unburned side, domestic scenes, kitchen, bed, ring. On the burned side, motion, color, a woman running toward light. It was symbolic, poetic, and utterly devastating, because anyone who saw it would assume it was about me. That I was the prison. That she was the victim. And that our breakup was her rebirth. Perfect. Let her paint it. Let her promote it. Let her win praise for courageous vulnerability. And then? When the spotlight was brightest, I'd reveal the truth. With evidence. With dates. With photos. With the texts. With the security footage. With the folder labeled him. And I wouldn't say a word. I'd just release it. All of it. Online. To her followers. To the galleries. To the press. To her mother. To his wife, because yes, I'd found that out too. The man in the Jeep? Married. 2 kids. Teacher at a private school. His name was Ethan Cole. And his life was about to explode. But not yet. Timing was everything. This wasn't revenge. This was theater. And every masterpiece needs an audience. 2 weeks passed. I kept living the lie. Work. Coffee. Small talk. Smiles. Claire called twice. Left voicemails. Crying. Saying she missed me. Asking if we could talk. I didn't answer. Didn't delete them. Saved them. Audio evidence. Proof of performance. Because grief didn't sound like that when it was real. Real grief was quiet. Mine was silent. Hers was performative. And I was collecting it. Then, on a rainy Thursday, it happened. Claire posted. A single image. A massive canvas. Half scorched. Half whole. Titled, Freedom Burn. Caption. This piece was born from the hardest decision of my life. To stay in comfort, or leap into the unknown. To honor a promise, or honor myself. This is my truth. My liberation. My art. See. Comments flooded in. Brave. Powerful. You're a voice for women everywhere. This belongs in MoMA. Daniel shared it. Naomi Park quoted it. Lila Chen commented, "Finally, you've found your voice." The local news picked it up. Local artist channels heartbreak into viral masterpiece. And just like that, Claire Whitaker became a symbol. The woman who chose herself. Who burned the old life to build a new one. And I? I was the shadow in the background. The unnamed villain. The reason she had to run. Perfect. Exactly as planned. I poured a glass of bourbon. Sat in the dark. Watched the notifications roll in. And whispered to the empty room. You want freedom? I'll give you freedom. But first, you're going to learn what truth really looks like. I opened a new email. Created a secure, anonymous account. Attached everything. The photos. The texts. The security footage. The fake journal. The proof that I created the concept. The marriage license scan, we'd already filed, just not set a date. The bank statements showing I'd paid her student loans. The medical records from when she had her wisdom teeth out, I signed the forms. And finally, a short letter. Not angry. Not pleading. Just factual. This is the story behind Freedom Burn. Not the myth. The truth. Decide for yourself who the prisoner really was. I scheduled it. For 1 week from today. To go out to every major art blog. Every local news outlet. Daniel. Naomi. Lila. Jen. Mark and Lisa. Ethan Cole's wife. And Claire. All at once. Like a detonation. Then I leaned back. Closed my eyes. And for the first time since she walked in laughing with another man, I felt peace. Because revenge wasn't done. But the foundation? The foundation was complete. The canvas was painted. The stage was set. And soon, very soon, the world would see her masterpiece. And then? They'd see mine. The night before I released everything, I didn't sleep. Not from fear. Not from guilt. But from anticipation, like standing at the edge of a cliff, wind howling, knowing you're about to jump, and your body is already flying before your mind gives the command. I sat in my office, the glow of the laptop casting long shadows across the walls. All the files were ready. The email drafted. The recipients loaded. The timer set for 7 a.m., a time when people check their phones, sip coffee, scroll through news before work. When reputations are made and broken. I had it all. Photos. Texts. Security footage. Timestamps. Metadata. Even the fake journal entry, now labeled, concept created by Michael Travers, March 12, 2024. And the letter? Short. Cold. Final. You've seen her art. Now see the truth behind it. She called it freedom. I call it betrayal. Decide for yourself who was trapped. A man who loved too much. I didn't sign it with rage. I signed it with sorrow. Because by then, I wasn't angry anymore. I was beyond anger. Anger burns. It's hot, fast, destructive. What I felt was deeper. It was the silence after the storm. The hollow where love used to be. The understanding that some people don't leave because they are unhappy. They leave because they enjoy the leaving. And Claire? She didn't just cheat. She curated her escape. She painted herself as the hero of her own story while erasing mine. So if she wanted the world to believe her lie? Fine. I'd show them the canvas, and then peel it back to reveal the bones beneath. At 6:58 a.m., I stood up. Walked to the kitchen. Made coffee. Same as always. Sat at the table. Watched the sun rise. At exactly 7 o'clock, I clicked send. Then I closed the laptop. Didn't look back. By 7:15, my phone started blowing up. First, a text from Mark. Mike, did you see this? Then Lisa. Oh my God. Is this real? Then Jen, after 3 unanswered calls, left a voicemail, voice shaking. Mike, I didn't know. I swear. I had no idea it went on for months. I'm so sorry. I didn't respond. By 8 a.m., Columbus Monthly tweeted. Update. Viral artwork, freedom burn under scrutiny after fiancé releases evidence of alleged deception. By 9:30, a local news crew was outside my house. I didn't answer the door. By 10:15, Daniel Reyes posted on Instagram. I've suspended exhibition of Freedom Burn pending review of the claims. This is not how art should be made. Betrayal has no place in creativity. Naomi Park went further. Her blog, The Raw Line, published a scathing piece titled, When Pain is Stolen, the Theft Behind Claire Whitaker's Freedom Burn. Art demands honesty. But what happens when the pain is fabricated? When the liberation is built on lies? Claire Whitaker didn't burn her past. She burned her partner's trust, and passed the ashes off as genius. Lila Chen commented publicly. Truth matters more than talent. Art without integrity is decoration. By noon, the story had gone national. BuzzFeed, HuffPost, People.com headlines screamed. Artist's viral breakup painting exposed as elaborate lie. Fiancé releases proof of months-long affair. He made pancakes. She made a masterpiece. And then, Ethan Cole's wife filed for divorce. Posted a statement. Called Claire a homewrecker. His school placed him on administrative leave. Photos of him with his kids surfaced online. The internet, once Claire's greatest amplifier, became her executioner. I watched it all unfold from the quiet of my home. No cheers. No dancing. No sense of victory. Just stillness. Like waking up from a long fever dream. And then, 2 days later, she came. I saw her car pull up. The red dress again. Hair down. Eyes red. She knocked. I opened the door. We stood there, 5 feet apart, the space between us wider than any ocean. You destroyed me, she said. Her voice wasn't loud. It was broken. Like glass held together by tape. I told the truth, I said. You ruined my career. My life. No, I said, calm. You did that when you chose him over me. When you lied. When you made a joke out of us. I loved you, she shouted. Then why did you write "I don't love him" in a text to another man? She froze. I pulled out my phone. Played the audio. Her voice, soft, intimate. I don't love him. I just don't know how to leave without losing everything. She covered her face. I was confused, she whispered. No, I said. You were selfish. She looked up. Do you think this makes you better than me? No, I said. But it makes me honest. And what about you? She shot back. Creating that fake journal? Feeding me that concept? Was that honest? I didn't flinch. No. But it was necessary. You wanted to tell a story? Fine. I gave you the script. And you played your part perfectly. Because deep down, you wanted to be free. You just didn't want to be caught. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I never meant to hurt you like this. You already had, I said. The night you walked in laughing with him. The night you lied to my face. The night you thought I wouldn't notice. She stepped forward. Can we talk? Try to fix this? I shook my head. There's nothing to fix. You left a long time ago. You just forgot to tell me. She reached for my hand. I pulled away. And in that moment, I realized something. I didn't hate her. I didn't even pity her. I released her. Like smoke from a fist. Like water through fingers. She wasn't my pain anymore. She was just a woman who made a choice. And I? I was the man who answered it. A week later, I quit my job. Not because I had to. Because I could. I walked into Nationwide, handed in my badge, thanked my team, and left. No drama. No speech. Just peace. I drove to the coast. Stayed in a small cabin in Door County, Wisconsin. Wrote. Not revenge. Not lies. Just me. My thoughts. My grief. My healing. And slowly, something unexpected happened. I started painting. Not like Claire. No abstracts. No metaphors. I bought cheap canvases, acrylics, brushes. And I painted our kitchen. The one with the golden morning light. The pancake stove. The chipped mug she always used. The table where we ate every Sunday. I painted it over and over. Different angles. Different light. Sometimes with her in it. Sometimes empty. And each time, it hurt less. Until one day, I realized I wasn't painting her. I was painting love. Real love. The kind that exists even after it's gone. The kind that doesn't demand credit. The kind that says, I was here. I mattered. I tried. 6 months later, I got an email. From Lila Chen. I saw your paintings at the pop-up gallery in Madison. They're simple. Honest. Quietly powerful. Would you consider a showing at CMA? We're doing a new series, Ordinary Love. I think your work belongs there. I wrote back. Only if you title the exhibit The Last Normal Morning. She agreed. On opening night, I stood in the corner, unnoticed. People wandered through. Stopped at the first piece. A man in a flannel shirt turned to his wife. That's our kitchen, he said, voice thick. You remember? When the kids were little? She nodded, eyes glistening. Yeah. I do. Another woman stood in front of Pancakes, Tuesday. She touched the frame. Whispered, I miss him. I didn't speak to anyone. Didn't take credit. Just watched. Because this time, the art wasn't about revenge. It was about memory. About what love really looks like. Not in grand gestures. Not in passion. But in routine. In pancakes. In saying, love you too. In staying, when so many choose to leave. Claire moved to Portland. Started over. Changed her name online. Deleted her old accounts. Last I heard, she was teaching art to kids. Good. Let her find peace. I hope she does. Not because I care. But because hatred is a prison. And I've served my time. Sometimes, late at night, I still dream of her. Not the liar. Not the woman in red. But the one who stole my sweatshirt. Who danced in the kitchen. Who laughed at my bad jokes. And in those dreams, I don't curse her. I thank her. Because she taught me the hardest lesson of all. Love isn't about forever. It's about being real while it lasts. And when it ends, you don't burn the memories. You frame them. And you walk forward. Alone. But whole. This isn't a story about revenge. Not really. It's about what happens when love dies. And what one man chooses to do when the person he trusted most turns his truth into art. Yes, I exposed her. Yes, I shattered her myth. But in the end, my masterpiece wasn't her downfall. It was my survival. And that? That was the most beautiful thing I ever created.